Thanks for coming, and what we're going to take apart today is this. This is an irrigation, it's called a solenoid valve, and this is something that I found when I was doing some cleaning, and it's used to turn the water on and off for sprinklers. Now, I grew up in a place that I didn't know that people needed to water their lawns, but I moved out to the mountains, the Rocky Mountains, and you need to water your lawns out here. So I did not know that you had to do that when I was growing up, but this is something that they use to turn on sprinklers for a yard or for a garden or something like that. Now, on the back, it shows what direction the water needs to go. So the water would go in here, and then it would go out here when this is turned on. Now this has an on-off switch that you actually turn the top part, and then you turn this back to shut it off this solenoid. I believe, I'm not exactly sure, but I believe you can shut this off and then water will eventually just go through no matter what. But we're going to take this apart today and see how it works on the inside. I need to get my power source. So my idea on using this, I'm going to eventually fix it and solder that back onto there, or somehow dig that out a little bit better, is to use this for a garden hose, just for fun. Have this attachment, have a garden hose here, and then have the same kind of attachment on this side that goes out to like watering some of my grapevines or something like that. But we're going to take this apart. So I actually think that this might actually come without these gray ends on them. But when you look on the inside, there's not much that you can see of how it works. So let's take it apart and see if we can figure out how it works. So again, let's see, that's where the water goes in. And there's not much that you can see. But in trying to take this apart, I tried to figure out what this did, if unscrewing this, but you can't, with this stopper right here, you can only turn it from off to on. So that doesn't help us get it off. So what you do actually is there's this part right here. And this is covered in dirt, so we're going to get dirt probably everywhere. Is this part. This part helps hold that solenoid on. So let's see. So the idea on these is normally it's when this is in the on position, water does not go through until you send electricity through it, and then that opens up the valve in here, and then water can go through. So let's see if we can pry this open. Okay, there we go. So there's this. Okay. It's a little wet. Come on. Sometimes it's hard trying to figure out how things come apart. So, yeah, there we go. So that really doesn't do anything, see? Or it doesn't explain anything, I guess, is what I mean. So you can see that that's where the water goes in, and then it comes into here. And then when it comes into here, then it eventually goes out through there. Okay? And there's no moving parts necessarily on this part. So we gotta take this apart some more and see what it does. Okay, let's see if it even works. We'll clip up the power to this side, and then so it's making a noise. Does it do anything on this side? See, it's not moving. Okay, so let's take it apart some more to see if we can figure out more of what it's supposed to do. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this part actually unscrews as well. Oh, and it even says on there the holding amps. Focus. So I'm guessing in rush is like as water's running through it. I'm kind of not exactly sure. And holding is 0.2, so 0.4 amps. No, not 0.4, sorry. Maybe 4 and 2. See, I have a lot to learn about this stuff too. So in this, it takes 24 volts at 60 hertz. So, but this is just some fun stuff to see. Okay, so now we can take this off. That's the on-off switch. And see if we can unscrew some of this other stuff. Okay. So it almost looks like water goes in through here too. But I'm not sure about that. Okay. This right here, I don't believe does actually anything. Except for let you get into here to release some pressure or something like that. I think that's what that does. But then there's this part. You can screw this back and forth, twist this back and forth, and it spins that. Now the cool thing is, while I'm spinning this black part, it spins that little gear down in here. But see what that little gear does? It twists this outer gear, but it twists it on this little cog. So see how it's going up and down? See that? Isn't that cool? So there's a normal cog here with a spiral cog that it's going up and down on. See? See that spiral cog? And that might, I wonder if that controls how much water gets through. So that might control that, how much water gets through the valve or the solenoid. Well, the valve. I think this is technically the solenoid and this is the valve part. So maybe that's how that works. That's so cool though, how gears work. So see how I'm twisting that back on? There. Huh, that's so cool. Okay, so the way to turn on the water for the sprinklers is to send electricity through this. And this is the solenoid. Okay, so I need to be ready. Okay, watch. Okay, so see how that little thing goes up and down? That's so cool. Okay, so I think we got this apart even more once. Because it shot out once when I was doing something. So let's see if we can take it apart even more without destroying it, because it would be fun to use later. There we go. See that valve? That O-ring? That's to keep electricity and water separate. There we go. Okay. I knew there was going to come out. Okay, watch. So it's on a spring. So this went over that and went inside of here, right? Okay. So this has a spring on it, and the spring is attached to the top, so it doesn't go down easily, right? But when you turn the solenoid on, it sucks it down. So it's technically a magnet, because watch. But watch, it'll shoot out. That's fun. That's the fun part. Wing. Okay, now the trick, after we play with this for a couple more times, boing, 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 is to get it back in and put everything back together the right way without just rewinding the video. But the cool thing is, this is a tiny application of like an electromagnetic kind of thing, where it magnetizes and pulls this metal thing down. But there's other ways that they can use electromagnetics, and in like high-speed trains, or I think they even use it in a rail gun. It's a new type of military weapon called a rail gun, I think is what it's called. And it shoots a piece of metal really, really fast, but the railgun gets destroyed really easily. So, but electromagnetics can be used in lots of different things. Okay, so I figured more stuff out. See that little circle indentation? That is actually from this part. And it goes, when it goes onto there, into that little part. So this sits on top of this, and it creates a vacuum. And as it so maybe there shouldn't be water in there, and maybe this is broken, but this actually has alternating current going through it. So this will go up and down super fast, I believe, since it's alternating current, and then that will change the pressure, and then that pressure inside will go up and down, and that will open and close this valve by moving it up and down by going like that. See that? And then that's how the water will get from one side to the other. That's so crazy how things work. Almost like a speaker, pretty much, except for instead of electricity running through this, it has this that kind of goes back and forth and vibrates this, or sucks it up. Maybe it doesn't vibrate it, but it sucks it up and lets water through, and then when it's done, this goes back down, and so this goes back down as well. Kind of like a vacuum. Like there's a vacuum inside that pushes it and pulls it. And I don't know if the alternating current makes it go up and down fast, or if what the alternating current does, because this doesn't run off DC, it runs off of AC. DC is kind of like just a normal battery, and AC is the power that comes out of an outlet, but this is not the same power. It's 24 volts instead of 110 volts. So I just thought that was interesting. I figured out more of how it works, and maybe by moving this part up and down, by moving this down more, then this moves up not quite as far, and so less water gets through. But if you move this up like that, this part right here can move up higher like that and let more water through. Man, it's so complicated, but it's like so simple too. It's pretty neat. If you want to see how to put it back together, just play the video back in reverse.